One problem that can show up on the electric pump tower system is that the pumps will suddenly quit or they might not start at all. If you look at the tower, the EPD module center light may be blinking with 4 quick flashes followed by a pause. That means there's been a low voltage condition in the power to the EPD from the battery. If you test the voltage going to the EPD without the pumps running, you'll probably get a good 12.5 to 13 volts. The voltage drop problem occurs when the pumps start and when they're running. You may not be able to see the full extent of the voltage drop spike with a regular voltmeter because it can be a quick drop. But here's what you need to do if you see the 4 quick flashes on the EPD. Unplug the power from the battery to the EPD and then plug it back in. That will reset the EPD. If you've been testing this system with the tractor not running, you may need to start the tractor. That may be the problem of your low voltage because your battery has gone down a little bit, and just starting the tractor may fix that if this is a test situation. The next thing to do is to check the connections at the battery and at the hitch and the connection where that battery power comes to the EPD. If there's any loose, bent, corroded, smoked, or dirty pins, that's going to be a problem. Consider replacing any older MetroPack connectors with new heavy-duty Anderson connectors. Newer harnesses may be built with larger gauge wire for better electrical efficiency. Be sure you have big enough wire to handle this load. Small wire will cause a larger voltage drop because we could be pulling 30 to 35 amps on this load. Also, be sure you're connected to the battery and not to a power strip that might not be able to handle the load needed to run the pumps. Another thing to do is to close the recirculation valve there so that the pumps aren't pumping more than what you need to. Next thing to do would be to check the strainer. A plugged strainer or even a tight strainer could cause the pumps to have more of a load trying to just get the product through the strainer. Another thing to do is to keep the pressure low. This may mean you have to switch to different metering tubes or orifices. On the electric pump system, 10 to 30 psi is a good range to shoot for. The higher the pressure, the more load you're putting on the system and the more voltage drop there will be. Another thing to do is to try one pump at a time. Plug the pumps directly into the battery power, which would mean unplug this power from the battery, unplug the one that goes to the pumps, and plug these two together directly to run your pumps without going through the EPD. That will just make sure that our pumps are working and that we do have the necessary power to run the pumps. Then try one pump at a time. Make sure that both pumps are carrying their share of the load. Sometimes it's hard to tell when both of them are running together. The processor in the EPD is the gatekeeper. That if there's low voltage, it's going to tell you by doing the 4 flashes and it's going to shut down. For several years now, Surefire has been using 6-gauge wire from the battery to the EPD and heavy-duty Anderson connectors on the power harness and power extension. If you have an older system, you may have smaller gauge wire and lighter connectors that aren't as efficient as they originally were. You combine that with pumps that are not as efficient as they used to be, and that may be enough to create this low voltage problem. Consider upgrading older power harnesses if the problem continues.